Rain hammered against the windows of a black moving car, blurring the outside world into streaks of light and shadow. Inside, silence felt heavier than the storm. The Omega sat in the back seat, hood pulled low over his face. His hands were clenched tightly in his lap, too tightly, like he was holding himself together by force. No name spoken, no comfort given, only instructions. From the front seat, the driver's voice finally broke the silence. Calm, controlled, almost rehearsed. Listen carefully. From this moment onward, you are not an Omega. A pause. The Omega didn't move, didn't answer, just stared at the small vial placed beside him. Suppressants, the kind that kept survival possible, and identity hidden. The driver continued, colder now. At the academy, you will be beta classified. You will not react. You will not attract attention. You will not make mistakes. A flicker of lightning lit the car interior for a second. For that brief moment, the Omega's expression was visible, unreadable, but tense, like someone already preparing for a war no one else could see. The vial rolled slightly as the car turned. He picked it up slowly, held it between his fingers, a fragile thing that was supposed to save him. Then, he closed his fist. Crack. Glass shattered silently into his palm. The driver noticed in the rearview mirror. What are you doing? The Omega looked down at the broken pieces, then calmly opened his hand. No fear, only decision. If I rely on this too much, I won't survive for. A beat of silence followed. Outside, the rain didn't stop, and neither did the car. Ahead, somewhere beyond the storm waited the Alpha Academy, a place where pretending to be Beta might be the most dangerous lie of all. The car slowed. Massive iron gates rose ahead, like a wall, separating two worlds. Alpha Academy, not just a school and institution built for the strongest alphas in the country, where control wasn't taught, it was demanded. The gates scanned the vehicle automatically. A mechanical voice echoed, clearance confirmed. The gates opened slowly, like something waking up. The Omega stepped out. Cold air hit instantly, different from outside the academy walls. Sharper, heavier, like the atmosphere itself was, trained to test whoever entered. He adjusted his hood slightly, kept his expression neutral. Beta. That was the role. That was survival. But the moment he walked forward, he felt it. Not a sound, not a sight. Something deeper. A pressure. A nearby Alpha student paused mid-step. He tilted his head slightly, like he was listening to something no one else could hear. His nose twitched once. Then again. What is that? Another student beside him frowned. What are you talking about? The first Alpha didn't answer immediately. His gaze drifted across the crowd slowly, searching. Then, he shook his head. Nothing. Forget it. But his expression didn't relax. It tightened, like something inside him had reacted, and he didn't understand why. The Omega kept walking, head down, controlled pace. But internally, he noticed everything. The stares, the silence that followed him too long, the way some alphas unconsciously shifted their attention toward him, then quickly looked away like they were annoyed at themselves. Something was wrong. Or maybe, he was the thing that was wrong. A loud announcement echoed across the courtyard. New transfer student identified. Beta classification. Report to main building. Heads turned. Now, it was official. Eyes followed him openly. No hiding it anymore. Some smirked. Some looked confused. Others interested in a way that felt dangerous. Far above, on a second-floor balcony, a figure stood alone, leaning slightly against the railing. Still, quiet, unbothered. The Alpha. He didn't move like the others. He didn't react like the others. He just watched, like he wasn't looking at a student, but something he couldn't categorize yet. Down below, the Omega stopped for half a second. A strange sensation passed through him. Not fear, not heat, something sharper, like being noticed without permission. He looked up instinctively. Their eyes did not meet yet, but the space between them already changed. And somewhere in the crowd, an Alpha finally muttered under his breath, "That Beta doesn't feel normal." The Omega kept walking anyway, straight into the heart of Alpha Academy, where survival wasn't about strength. It was about staying unnoticed, and for the first time, that might already be impossible. Part 3. First class silence. The classroom was too quiet. Not normal quiet. This kind of silence felt controlled, like even breathing was being measured. Rows of Alpha students sat with perfect posture. No noise, no distractions, just focus. Then the door opened. The Omega stepped in. Instant change. The air didn't get louder, but it got heavier. Heads turned slowly, one by one. Like a chain reaction no one could stop. Whispers almost started, but didn't. Something about him made people hesitate before speaking. The professor cleared his throat. We have a transfer student. Beta classification. A few students exchanged glances. Beta. In an Alpha academy. That alone didn't make sense. Some smirked. Others stared longer than necessary, trying to figure him out. The Omega walked to an empty seat. Controlled steps. Neutral face. No reaction. That was the rule. Don't react. Don't stand out. Don't give them a reason. At the back of the room, someone was already watching him. The Alpha. He sat slightly apart from the others. Relaxed posture. One arm resting on the desk. Expression unreadable. He didn't look interested in anything. Until now. The Omega passed in front of him. Just for a moment. Nothing dramatic. No words. No contact. But the Alpha's pen stopped moving. Midline. Frozen. He looked up slowly. Not at the Omega's face first, but at something he couldn't explain. Like the air had shifted. Like something didn't fit. The Omega continued walking and sat down. Normal. Or pretending to be. But behind him, the Alpha still wasn't writing. Still watching. Still thinking. That's not normal. He didn't say it out loud, but the thought stayed. Longer than it should. The professor continued speaking. But the room no longer felt the same. Something had already entered it, and no one fully understood what it was yet. Part 4. The accidental touch. The classroom is too quiet. Not the normal kind of quiet, but the kind that makes everything feel like it's holding its breath. Even the air feels heavy. The Omega bends down slowly. His notebook has slipped. It glides across the polished floor, softly scraping. CCRRT. CCRRT. It stops right beside the Alpha's desk. No one reacts. No one dares. Not even a shift in posture from the other students. At the back of the room, eyes flicker. Waiting. The Alpha leans back in his chair. Calm. Relaxed. But his gaze is already fixed on the notebook. A pause stretches. Too long. Then, he stands. Slow. Controlled. Each step echoes louder than it should. Tap. 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 He reaches it. Bends down. His fingers close around the notebook. Something subtle happens in the room. The pressure changes. Like the entire space just tightened. His hand lifts it, and then their fingers touch. Just for a second. But it hits like a shockwave. The Alpha freezes. Not fully. Not visibly. But enough for anyone who's watching closely. His eyes sharpen instantly. The Omega pulls his hand back quickly. Like it burned him. But his face, still calm. Still unreadable. No reaction. No weakness shown. Just silence. If you're still watching this tension building up, don't forget to like, share, and follow, so you don't miss what happens when this accidental touch stops being accidental. The Alpha slowly straightens up. His gaze doesn't leave the Omega. He tilts his head slightly. Strange. Low. Controlled. Not confusion. Not curiosity. Something deeper. Something he hasn't named yet. He places the notebook back on the desk, but his fingers linger for a second longer than necessary. Too long. Then he lets go. The Omega takes it. No eye contact. No reaction. But inside, something has already shifted, and neither of them realizes. This was only the beginning. The academy is quiet at night. No students in the halls. No voices. Just dim lights. An empty space. The Omega sits alone in the library. He is not reading, just staring at the table. Tired. Not from training, from everything. Footsteps break the silence. Slow. Controlled. He doesn't look up immediately. He already knows. The Alpha stops in front of him. No words at first. Just watching. Then he speaks. You've been avoiding me. The Omega replies without emotion. I've been busy. The Alpha doesn't accept it. That's not true. Silence. Longer this time. The Omega finally looks up. For the first time, he doesn't look strong, just tired, human. The Alpha notices it immediately. His expression changes slightly. Not soft, but different. Less distance. He pulls out a chair, sits opposite him, not dominating the space. Just staying. You're not fine, the Alpha says. The Omega doesn't answer, because it's true. A pause. Then the Alpha speaks again. I don't understand why I keep thinking about you. That line stays in the air. Heavy. Honest. The Omega finally responds, you shouldn't. The Alpha looks at him directly. I know. Silence. Again. But this one feels different. Less defensive. More real. The Alpha leans back slightly, then quietly says, you don't have to pretend with me. The Omega's fingers tighten slightly on the table. A small reaction, but real. For a moment, neither of them speaks. Then, the Alpha stands. The Omega tenses slightly, but he doesn't leave. The Alpha removes his academy jacket and places it beside the Omega. Not on him this time. Beside him, an option, not a command. If you leave, the Alpha says, you don't have to come back. A pause. Then, but I'll still notice. The Omega looks at the jacket, then at him. For a long time, then slowly. He doesn't stand. He stays. Not because he is forced. Not because he is hiding. But because, for the first time, he doesn't feel like he is alone in danger. The Alpha notices, and he doesn't smile. But he stays too. Not closer. Not touching. Just present. And that is the beginning of acceptance. Not love declared. Not labels spoken. Just two people, choosing not to walk away. The library stays quiet. Neither of them moves for a while. The Alpha is still sitting there. The Omega is still not leaving. No one is speaking anymore. But something has already settled between them. Not love. Not trust. Just presence. And neither of them breaks it. A long silence passes. Then the Alpha finally says, quietly, if you leave now, I'll still notice. The Omega doesn't answer, but he doesn't stand up either. And for the first time, he stays. Sometimes the biggest change isn't what is said. It's what someone chooses not to do. If you reached this point, don't just scroll away. Tell me what you think happens next. Should the Omega finally reveal his real identity? Or should the Alpha figure it out first? Like, share, and follow.